are listening to The VO Life with Troy Holden.
Coming up on this episode of The VO Life.
But then the other people that we run into are ready to do direct email marketing, and they also don't know where to start, or they don't have the time.
This episode is sponsored by VO Inbox, the only full-service marketing tool for established professional voice actors.
And welcome back. It's the VO Life, as promised last week. And you know, I don't usually hit my promises real often on this podcast, but I did promise last week we were going to have Jonathan Grant on this week, and we're going to talk about not only his current venture, but let's talk about how he got to this point. Jonathan, welcome.
Hey, thanks, Troy. I'm glad to be here.
Well, I'm super happy to have you here because I think you're offering not only a unique service, but a needed service. And partnering with us here on the podcast, we want to get the word out to as many people as possible. But let's go backwards, because what I want people to understand is you didn't pull a rabbit out of a hat. You've been doing this kind of stuff for ages.
Yes, decades.
Yeah, and building businesses, building these types of platforms. And I know you can't go into detail on some things, but take us to the backstory of now you have built this marketing website for voice actors. What brought you to that? What other experiences brought you to do this?
Well, I've served in two branches of the military, in the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps. And I ended up finding my way after my service. I ended up finding my way into property management. And I started that career as a groundskeeper. 7 years to the day later, I left as a vice president for a publicly traded company. I was running $500 million in real estate spread across 11 cities in 3 states. This ended up giving me a huge portfolio of staff with 72% turnover per year in that industry. So I went and got a book on building websites and built a website to staff my own portfolio. I had 5,000 hits in the first week and walked away from it. Walked away from my job and started a job site. And that did very well. We were in 30 states in our first 10 days. And we've helped almost 1 million people in that industry, in a single industry, find a job, at no cost to the job seeker. That's something that's very important to me. Mm-hmm. And that was 25 years ago this past November. And then along came the pandemic. And which that business is fine, it's still running. But along came the pandemic and everybody was, shut down and bored.
Right.
And I've always had a passion for voiceover. Mm-hmm. So I decided maybe now's the time. And I passed off my responsibilities to somebody I could trust, who immediately caught COVID. And they're fine. But I passed off those responsibilities and decided that I was going to tackle voiceover, because it's always been a passion of mine. Mm-hmm. You see the guy that's driving down the freeway and he looks like he's carrying on singing along. Well, I'm the guy that's actually mimicking all of the imaging that I'm hearing and repeating all the commercials while I'm driving. Yeah. This has been a passion of mine my whole life. And I was finally at a point where I could pursue that. So I got into voiceover and I was doing pretty well, got some coaching, built a website, built my booth, and was booking a couple of pretty big international global brands, actually, but got to a point where I needed to start doing my own marketing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because if you realize I'm a business person first. And, I'm looking at the structure of voiceover. I'm looking at, first we see the freelance sites, the advent of those, and then the pay to plays. And obviously there's the agents who came first and now seem to be coming in last. And it was very difficult to get regular work. Mm-hmm. So I decided that it might be time for me to source my own work.
Right. And
I was looking at opportunities out there. I found a couple that looked promising, but the closer you looked, it was kind of an empty bag, that you were being handed. So I decided to being a developer, I created my own bots and crawlers and that to go out and start sourcing leads for me while I was building my own outreach tool. And it was going pretty well. And then I saw a company who seemed to be taking advantage of voice talent, and I wasn't going to stand for that. So I decided to take the leads that I had been sourcing and create a site called VO Leads, which is a self-service lead source specifically for voiceover.
Mm-hmm. So VO Leads being a self-service, and as we know, and I talked about this in a workshop I had the other day, or kind of a free webinar. Marketing is marketing, and marketing works. All marketing programs work. Almost all of them do. But here's the deal. You got to do the work. You have to go get those leads. You have to send those emails. You have to do those follow-ups. The programs don't do that for you, and VO Leads doesn't do all of that for you, but it gives you some inroads into cutting down your research time, correct?
Right. So these are VO Leads. The database of VO Leads is full of fully vetted, likely VO buyers. No list provider is perfect. None. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that this is absolutely perfect, but it's pretty stinking close.
Mm-hmm.
And we have vetted these leads, and we don't publish any leads that haven't been, number one, delivered, vetted, fully vetted, and received email. We include 100% of the business email addresses, not LinkedIn or Yahoo or Gmail, no personal email addresses. These are all business email addresses, personal business social media profiles. I'm not allowed to say their company names.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can say business LinkedIn profiles, all their business social medias, business websites, and that's for 100% of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that takes a lot of time because it's exactly what we do. We vet every single one of them. A human being goes and vets every single one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So it's difficult. It takes a lot of time. And you're right about the marketing. We run into typically two types of folks at VO Leads. Folks who don't know what they're doing. They've never done direct email marketing whatsoever.
Right.
They don't know where to start. Maybe they haven't even had any coaching yet. And we do have membership requirements, which I'm happy to cover in a minute. But then the other people that we run into are ready to do direct email marketing, and they also don't know where to start, or they don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're happy to point them to resources that can teach them that, to help them out. Our preference, we sell leads. that's
right.
It's that simple.
Right.
And that's VO Leads. So while I was building out VO Leads and I had released that to the public, it kind of became the petri dish. We were watching, how folks were using it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were watching how folks weren't using it. And we discovered that folks needed a tool to manage this for them, to source the leads for them, to put together the email campaigns and manage the campaign, send the email.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where VO Inbox came from.
Mm-hmm.
And VO Inbox right now is live. It's been live for 3 months. We're in our 4th month. We have 13 people already. We haven't even begun marketing it.
Mm-hmm.
We already have 13 active campaigns going. We have 97% inbox deliverability. We have a lot of opens, but there's a lot of issues with tracking opens and clicks and things like that, which I'm happy to talk about. But what we do is this: we source the leads for you for your email campaigns at VO Inbox. We provide you up to 3 free email addresses to send those emails so that we can protect your primary work email.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to get blocked there. You couldn't talk to your customers or prospects if that gets blocked. So we provide those. I own the servers. I own the mail servers. And those are secure email accounts that are warmed up and fully secure and, has SPF and all that,
mm-hmm.
DKIM, every setting that you would need. And we've devised these campaigns in such a way, like if you're on our professional plan, which would be our top tier, that plan provides you with 100 brand new, fully vetted leads every single month.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get mailed immediately. And then it has an email sequence of up to 5 messages per lead. And so that one would send a message immediately. It would send another one in 30 days and then 90 days, 90 days, 90 days. We track deliverability. We track opens, link clicks, replies. If they're interested, we run a library against the messages to see if there's interest or if they unsubscribed. And we track bounces. And if one of those leads bounces, we replace it for free in the next month. So as long as you have an active subscription with us, we're going to replace any bounced leads. And the truth is leads bounce. If you've sourced email addresses and leads, they bounce.
Yeah.
They delivered last month, they bounced this month.
Right. Right. Yeah, I'm dealing with that this morning. I had I think 25 radio imaging emails go out of my old system, and I think like 11 of them bounced. It's crazy. Yeah. But keep in mind, radio people are on the move right now. I mean, really, really on the move. And these are individual names going to an individual station. And there's probably another person there, but that email's gone and you're back to square one. So fun.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. In these services that we've put together, transparency is our hallmark of our service. We are wide open. You've seen it. We show you everything.
Yes.
And so with the bounces, here's the reality. When we find new data and source new data and test that data, it bounces at a rate of 4.8%. That's brand new data that we haven't published. We only publish deliverable email. So it gets published. And then we experience bounces over time of approximately 5-6%. That average grows. But I'll tell you, we saw a huge change in 2024 over the summer, especially, where we peaked a couple of times at 10%. Now, for us, that's a lot, because we have vetted every single one. But your average, if you were buying a list somewhere or somebody gave you a list, you're going to bounce at 25% out of the gate, and you may reach all the way up to 50%. But for us to find that we're bouncing at 10% was a surprise. So we started taking a close look at what was going on. We saw production houses closing. We saw agencies going out of business. We saw a couple of agencies merge, so there was a lot of turnover, and there was a lot of turnover of voice talent. And there was a lot of turnover as well in the production houses. And that's something that we track. And with VO Inbox, we decided that we're going to share that pain with you. And we decided 100% bounce replacement, no matter what tier of service you're on, for everyone. We can't guarantee you results. And I think anybody who claims that they can is being dishonest with you. What we can guarantee is deliverable email, and that's it. And if it bounces, we'll replace it.
Yeah. And everything else is up to that voice actor to have had the training, talent, et cetera, to back up what they're sending in that email. You can't guarantee work. You can't guarantee anything. And what most of us are looking for, and I always say this, is more at-bats. I want to get up. I want more at-bats. I want more production houses or somebody to put me on a roster. And I think based on your history using the system yourself or your methods yourself and your contacts, you've had really good luck getting on rosters.
Yeah. I have, using this system, I'm now on 72 rosters. I am regularly getting auditions. I'm regularly getting requests for quotes for work. Not always winning. Again, it's, they hear something in their head already that they're looking for.
Sure.
But it's like you said, I get the at-bats. And marketing is about being seen and being heard. And when done effectively, people listen to your, if it's done effectively, if you're not writing them a novel in your email, or if you're not just giving a sentence, "Hi, I'm a voice talent, contact me here," a little bit more meat on the bone for them. The idea is you're trying to make an introduction. You're not trying to book a job. That comes after you have had the handshake, after you've met them. They've added you to their roster. And I've had companies all over the country add me to their roster over the last 12 months. I've been using I've been using this system. This was my personal outreach system that I built for myself. It's my own CRM. And I've been using it for about 18 months. And it wasn't until June of last year that I decided to build it out for VoiceOver, because I really didn't want to. It was kind of the market demand, and the people needed it, and they were asking for it. So I built it. Awesome.
One of the big things that I keep hearing from voice actors is, I don't have time. All right. So what is your time worth? And I had to ask myself that question when I started looking at how your system worked. I said, is it is it really worth that to me? And I said, well, wait a minute. I feel valued most days, and this is a God's honest truth. If I'm working, I'm valued at $200, $250 an hour. Minimum. That's minimum to turn the mic on. Now, I remember the day back in 2020, those $10, $15 orders got me pretty excited for a couple of months. But no longer, now I'm more like, there's other things I could be doing. I could be scraping for some other contacts, or I could be doing this or this or this during that spare time. But what I'd rather be doing is sitting here making money, letting my system do its work in the background, and then having time to go be with my family and do other things and get out of here so I can recharge and come in positive. Because what I have really learned in this last year is when you are so ultra focused on, I've got to get that next job, the desperation and the anxiety comes through your auditions. And if your marketing is doing its own thing, because your results won't change. What you're being told with Jonathan is exactly right, but you have good leads and good things going out there to try to go after. The percent of results coming back based on your demos and what they hear and whatever, that may not change, but it will free your time up. And that's invaluable. So VO Inbox, to give you time to do other things, is what I hear.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of discussions, around the coffee table about what it is that we actually do. And we're not selling leads, and we're not selling a direct email marketing service per se. We're selling time. Mm-hmm. And if you stop and think, anybody listening to this podcast, and you yourself know, when you're digging for good qualified leads on the internet, or let's say you're at Apollo IO or anywhere, and you're digging for leads, it's going to take you an hour to find one good lead. And what you're not going to get when you find that lead is up to 15 data points. You're not going to have their LinkedIn profile. You may not even have their business email. You might have an info@ email address. Mm-hmm. You're not going to have the company phone number, location, company website. Well, you may have the website. You're not going to have the company's LinkedIn or Facebook or YouTube or any of that. We provide that with every single lead. And we've done time and motion studies and how long it takes. So you can spend that hour or so. You might get lucky. I mean, if we're being honest, you might find one in 10 minutes. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then it might be an hour or more before you find the next one. Mm-hmm. That's just the reality. That's hunt and peck on the internet. That's just the way it works. Right. With us, with VO Leads or with VO Inbox, I want X number. Click, ta-da, it's done. Mm-hmm. You can open them in bulk. Or you can, we do everything for you at VO Inbox, but at VO Leads, you can dig through, and I guarantee you're going to be finding 100 an hour. Mm-hmm. if that's how much digging you want to do. But VO Inbox specifically was designed to save the most time, to remove that worry, as you described, to get you more time on your mic and less time in your inbox. That's the whole point. Right.
Right. Time.
Right. It's just time
is money. Yeah. Time is money. Money is time. I've been watching, we just finished it last night. Was it 7 seasons of SEAL Team. And I love watching stuff like that. Execute. Everything is based on a plan and an execution. And I love watching that, because that's what all of this, all of your marketing, all of your self-promotion, everything you're doing, plan, execute, get results. And give me more time in the booth. Give me more at bats. Give me, more opportunities to put my voice out there, because we're trying to say, I might be that voice in your head, and I might be that person that can solve your problem quickly or whatever. Mm-hmm. And one thing that I really like on VO Leads even is if you are regionalized. Let's say you're up north and you feel very regionalized with your voice. You can concentrate on clicking states and picking leads in those states. And that, I want to find production houses up here. That's not to say every production house is working only in that area, because all the time I get auditions from Pennsylvania and somewhere else up north, actually New York, and it's Southern accent this, Southern accent that. Mm-hmm. So we never know, but a lot of times it's good to concentrate in the region, and VO Leads gives you that. So what in your the best way, we talk about transparency, the best way for you to say with VO Inbox, you should be here at this level to think about coming into VO Inbox, or what's the sales pitch for that? And I hate to say sales pitch, but we don't want people that aren't ready for it to jump into it and then in a month go, oh my God, I can't pay that much. You know?
Okay, so the criteria is exactly the same. It's a members only, and the membership part is free. Of course, we want to sell leads. We want to sell the mail service. But the membership is free, and here are the requirements. You have to have a professional voiceover website, not a link to a profile at Fiverr or a free profile somewhere at another service. This has to be a professional website that's under your control. Mm-hmm. And one of the keys that tells us that it's under your control is that when you register, you have an email address that matches that website. Mm-hmm. We don't care what email address you use in the wild. If you've been building a customer base and they're used to your Gmail account, that's great. We don't care about that. But you have to register with an email address that matches your website. And then the third and most important, most crucial thing is that you have to have high quality professional demos on your website above the fold. Above the fold means the first thing you see on the homepage is a link to your quality professional demos. Mm-hmm. And what do we mean by quality? A solid VO performance, free of background noise and artifacts, mouth mm-hmm. clicks and what have you. We don't want to hear kids screaming and airplanes going over and somebody running down the hallway outside of your booth. Mm-hmm. You have to be professional. You have to be a pro to use our service. And that has scared a lot of people off. And we have had some denials and some folks that we've had to turn away. And when that happens, we actually have a full suite of professionals in each area that you may have an issue, whether it's coaching, whether it's your sound. You know, if there's a problem with your audio, we've got partnerships with professionals in the industry that we have vetted. We've either used them ourselves or we've carefully vetted them. They can help get you ready for direct marketing. Mm-hmm. And the reason we take that step, there's actually multiple reasons, but the number one reason is to protect you. You only get one shot to make a first impression, once. And if you have poor audio, if you're sending them to your Facebook, or if you're sending them to Facebook, that's a problem. If you're sending them to a freelance site or to a profile somewhere, that's a problem. You need mm-hmm. to be able to point them to your demos. Even if you point them to SoundCloud, that doesn't mm-hmm. look quite professional either, but a lot of people do that and it works for them. You know, there's mm-hmm. different schools of thought on that, but we can't compromise on this because we want you to spend your time and your treasure getting ready to do voiceover. We want you to make the best first impression possible, because a hallmark of our service is our stance that everyone wins.
Right.
You win on price, you win on saving time, you win on ease of use. The production houses win because they have professional people using our contacts, reaching out to them. Mm-hmm. And they're not getting a lot of folks who, there's no nice way to put it. They're just making a lot of noise. Right. In the industry. And we run into that on the pay-to-plays too, don't we? You know, it's like you're competing with a lot of noise. So the production houses are on there. They have to listen to 100 auditions, you know, mm-hmm. to get to the one they're looking for. Instead of we're sending professional vetted voice talent out to these production houses. And when they're auditioning, they're getting the jobs. You know, it's working. They're getting on rosters. They're listening to these demos and it's working for them. And we get feedback every week where it's working for them. Good. We're not going to pretend and throw out a bunch of numbers and inflate everything. But the truth is that every single week, 2 or 3 people are getting added to rosters. They're getting auditions, and we're only this big yet. We just got started. Right.
In the art of transparency, you also have a uniqueness that if you're in VO Inbox and you get a response, you have a unique way that response is reacted to.
Yes. Yeah. So the responses come in when a reply comes in from a lead that you have emailed. Our system catches that reply in the email accounts that we provide for you, mm-hmm. and it forwards it directly to your inbox for your primary email account. Mm-hmm. But the way that we do this is so that it removes us from the conversation. Mm-hmm. So that reply comes in and our system will strip that down and create a whole new email message and send that to you instead of forward it to you. And mm-hmm. when you hit reply, you're talking to the lead and we're out of the loop.
What about that? Yeah, I like
we
that.
don't. Of course we have it. We're actually working on a system which we hope to have launched by summer, where because we have the replies, but we don't get into. There's no way. There's not enough time in the day, for us to get in there and dig through your information. And we don't want it. So what ends up happening is we're going to have, when you come into your account at VO Inbox, that'll be this summer. If you're missing a reply, you'll be able to pull it up and view it. You can either print it right there, or you can trigger it again to go to your inbox so you reply back to the lead. So
Gotcha.
There's nothing lost.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we're not interested in continuing the conversation. We're not going to be intercepting your replies and using them for something else, which there are businesses out there that do that right now in VoiceOver. So that's yours. You paid for that relationship. You made that relationship. You spent your time and treasure getting ready. You built your website, your demos. They liked it. They responded to you. That's yours. And we make sure that stays private and between you folks.
Nice. One of the other things that I had thought about the other day was there are a lot of voice actors that have been in the business 10, 12 years or longer. They have established probably a lot of them have some direct work, but probably a lot of agency and production houses that maybe hired them through an agent or hired them through somebody or whatever. Maybe they have management companies. But I do see now and then established voice actors who do not market, who are saying, I need something. I also see the people that have been in 5 to 6 years. Maybe they had built I won't say a career on platforms like Fiverr, but they made a lot of money there. Let's say, $5-10 grand a month or more, but that has started to deteriorate and now they are looking for something, but they have a pretty good income coming in. Isn't that a better fit for Inbox versus Leads because they are busy? They don't have time to market but they need another spoke in their wheel.
Right. Yeah. And nothing that we're discussing and nothing that you just described should be your only source of income and your only source of revenue or of work.
Right.
So yes, VO Inbox is, it's not free and the top tier stuff can get kind of expensive, but you get a whole lot for that. You need to be booking work. You need, if you're going to use VO Inbox, you need to be actively booking work. The pricing, we use a sliding scale over at VO Leads, and that's just about anybody who meets the criteria. That'll fit a budget, and we let you create and craft custom plans over there. But with VO Inbox, this is for the working professional.
Right. So if you're out there in that situation now, and I know we have several people in the VO Life group that are established, but I have seen posts of what marketing are you using, what CRM are you using? I'm like, wait a minute, do they really need that? They do. Everybody needs it. What I learned over the past 4 years in voiceover, and especially the past few being full-time, I watched my business go from a 50-50 to a 60-40 to a 70-30, and in January, a 90-10. Now, that in a January may be unusual for the rest of the year. I may still balance at about 70-30, 80-20, but the high end of that is direct business. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I sent an email to somebody and that's a client I got through email. It could be that they pivoted off of another platform or they pivoted whatever, and now they are a direct client. And that is the way I look at it when I track that. But that's your goal. You want to get as many people coming to you on a regular basis so you build a foundation for your business. And let's say 70% of that coming in is pretty consistent every month. And that other 30 is what we call icing on the cake. That might be, I've still got a little Fiverr business. I've still got a little bit of voices.com. I pick up what little I audition or whatever that may be. But if you will really concentrate on building that bottom base, you don't have to worry about that top stuff. And that's where people stress. You stress over those voices auditions. You stress over, why is my Fiverr profile not getting viewed? Why is this happening and that happening? That's where we all get stressed and get anxiety and get wound up. And then our auditions aren't as good. And that continues to tank on there. And then when that regular work comes in, our shoulders relax, our face relaxes, and we do that work and we knock it out of the park because that's our client and we take care of them. We need to be in a position to where this stuff's not worrying us and we can go in and do better auditions and not be stressed. And I think this hands you not only time, it hands you peace of mind because I should be sitting and doing leads today, and I need to go find 10 more leads, and I need to do this Monday through Friday from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. This takes that off of you if you're a pro and can do that. And even from the other side, VO Leads can take a lot of stress off you if you don't like to do the research. It's not easy. I mean, there is an art to finding, sure, anybody can Google production houses, anybody can Google ad agencies. But it's an art to digging further, going to LinkedIn and verifying and going to here and going to there. And then there's other sites that'll help you find the email, or I can only find their name and I need the name of the company.com or whatever. Which one is it? And then you're buying another service to look for that. I mean, I know people that have 5 services just to look for leads, and they're spending as much on that as they would be with this program.
Well, yeah. And let's touch on that for 1 second. So it's not just about sourcing leads. VO Inbox we do source the leads for you. And we also manage your email campaign. Mm-hmm. We send the email for you. Mm-hmm. Here's your job. If you're using VO Inbox, you're a busy working professional. You are responsible to craft your templates for a sequence. Mm-hmm. And you can semi-customize that. You can add the recipient's name. You can add their company name if you like. So there's some customization, and we can talk about the 2 different types of direct email marketing that exist. This is kind of a mix of the 2 types where you can semi-customize it. You can say hello to them and greet them by their name. Keep it short and sweet. And here's how you listen to my demos. But your responsibility is to create those templates and then respond immediately to any replies that you get. I'm talking 9 o'clock at night, which I've had that happen, 9 p.m. I'm getting ready to press the sheets and something comes in. I jump on it because that's what I do. I sell widgets and somebody wants a widget.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I jump on it and I make the business part of it my priority. And I want to shift gears for 1 second, if that's okay. It's a business.
Right.
I'm an entrepreneur. I've been a senior executive for private equity and publicly traded companies and my own companies for 35 years. I know a little bit about business, but I also know, like you said, that your life, what's going on in your life shows up on the mic. Mm-hmm. And the mindset, we hear all this about mindsets and that. You are the boss. You are the tech guy. You are the audio technician. You are the performer. You're everything, and you're wearing every hat. Mm-hmm. And VO Inbox and VO Leads both were kind of designed to keep all those hats in mind to let you focus on the part that makes you money.
Right.
The part that makes you money is being a professional service that responds immediately to the needs of your customer, which fosters a long-term relationship and repeat work. That's business 101, simple stuff.
Yep.
So either of these services can save you that time. But back to your responsibility, you just create these templates, you be responsive to your prospective customers, and we take care of everything else.
Awesome. How easy can he make it for you, folks? I mean, that just makes it the way it should be. Now let's talk about contacting you guys. I know we mentioned last week on the podcast there might eventually be a code we're going to use that if they come through me, and even if they want to, you guys that are out there thinking, I'm not sure if I qualify for that, I'll help you with that. You can reach out to me by email. That's always listed in podcast notes. Click there, send me an email, and you say, hey, I'm interested in this. What do I do? How do I qualify? I'll be glad to help you because I understand what Jonathan's doing, how he's doing it, how he's vetting people. And I probably can help advise you. Maybe you should start with VO Leads right now, and then you can move to VO Inbox later, or no, heck yeah, you're ready for VO Inbox. So let's set up all the contact stuff.
Okay, so I have 2 things for you today on the code. First, let's do VO Inbox. So for VO Inbox, their code would be the VO Life, no spaces. It's not case sensitive, just the VO Life, one word. And if they register at VO Inbox and use that referral code, we're going to give them an extra 25 leads on their first month for free.
Look at that. Now that's nice.
So
that's nice.
That's an incentive for your listeners, for your Facebook group. You go ahead and distribute that. As far as VO leads, since you have an account there personally, you actually have a personal referral code in your account that you can go and grab. You can pass that out to folks. That's a different system. But VO Inbox, since it's a package type deal, we're happy to give your listeners 25 free leads up front.
Awesome. And if you're interested, like I said, reach out to me. I'll be glad to talk to you about it. And you can go look at voinbox.com. There's a lot of information on the page where you can get a little more understanding of it. But Jonathan explained it really well. If you want to get some peace of mind, save some time, get some time back. If you're spending, 5 hours a week on doing your mining and your emails and all of that, what's that worth to you? What's 20 hours a month worth to you? Put that in, liquid money, and then decide if the fee is worth it. And I think you're going to see that it is, because this thing is doing a ton of work for you. And what I want people to be realistic about is it's like all marketing. And then when you're self-marketing, I see this all the time. I sent out 100 emails and I haven't gotten a reply. I sent out 500 and it happens. But what does happen is you are planting those seeds. You are becoming top of mind, and these people could very well eventually get back to you. You don't know that they don't go listen to your demo and they go, let's put him in the pile maybe next time. You never know. Sometimes that's worth as much as a reply. I have booked work. I've had people come to me 3-6 months after an email and say, hey, you reached out to us so-and-so long ago, and we want to use you for this project. Boom. And I promise you it happens, because I know in January I had 2 jobs come to me that way, and I couldn't tell you how many last year, but actually 2 in 1 month, which is pretty good, for blind work. Pretty good.
Yeah, and I've had them reach back out to me 13 months after the first email. First time I heard from them. Yeah. And there's a script attached. Hey, can you quote this? Can you send us a demo?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It does work, and it is the way to go. And as we talked about, it's another spoke in your wheel, your income wheel. We got a huge replica of a wagon wheel in our den, and every night I get to walk by that thing and I look at it, and that's my reminder of, am I missing anything sometimes? Am I putting all the lines in the water? Am I doing everything I should do? And, we mentioned being in business and 9:00 at night or whatever, and we got to do an audition, and my wife knows my sound. I'll make this, I probably should go do that one right now. She kind of knows. She kind of knows when I make that because she hits the pause button on the TV every time. But this is another great tool out there, and we're very pleased to partner up with Jonathan and continue to talk about this week after week and remind you guys it's here and it's a wonderful service. And let me say the key word to all this, and you can call it everything else. It's transparency. This guy's been transparent from day one. I got in an email bind last year, and he jumped in with Will Vincent, and they rescued me. They kept me from losing my main email account. And like he said, and why did that happen? Because I had changed web services. I went from GoDaddy over to Wix, and I was marketing in GoDaddy, and they didn't care how many I sent apparently. But then when I moved over and kept sending emails, things went south, and these guys helped me out and got me out of a bind. And, just great, a great guy to work with. I think you'll enjoy it. He's doing this based on years of business knowledge built on other platforms that he's built. This thing is, I know by talking to him all the time and texting back and forth, that he's always working on something to improve it. He dives into it. Sometimes I don't hear from him for a week because he's so in-depth and involved in making this work for everybody. And if you have any interest in it at all, reach out to me, reach out to them, look at the site and get it going, because time is money. I don't know how other way
I
to
couldn't have
put
said it better.
I don't know any other way to put it that time is money. And it's always wonderful to save both or have more of both. Jonathan, on the other hand, tell us kind of what else is going on with your life. You're up north, right? You're in Michigan. Tell us a little bit more about you just personally. We talked about your business stuff, but what does Jonathan like to do when he's not doing all this stuff?
You know, the truth is I am a nerd through and through. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not developing code, I'm either learning a new language, a new system, a new process. I live in this. I'm up to 5 languages now. And you mentioned Will. Will is really pushing me to learn some new stuff too. So for the last, I want to say 25 years or so, my recreation has been, we keep a big boat down in Florida, and we've been all over with that. We've traveled quite a bit. The best ever was Alaska. Yeah. So that's kind of our brain break. We'll go and do that. But I actually spend my downtime figuring out what's next. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've built all kinds of different successful platforms, nationwide businesses that have done very well, and I've sold those off. I would say the most favorite thing is when we used to live in Florida, we got hit by hurricanes down there. In our first 6 weeks, we got hit by 3 hurricanes in 2004. So I created a weather. I wanted to understand it. So I took a deep dive into the science, the meteorology and understanding hurricanes, tropical weather, and ended up literally inventing hurricane tracking maps that are at the street level, where we can tell you at your location, the wind speed, the direction, what type of damage you might expect, whether it be a curtain wall, roof, sheathing, what have you. And then that we were used by NASA, FEMA, Clear Channel, used all of our stuff. And I'm very pleased to say that the wind fields that we created for these maps are now being used by the National Hurricane Center. Wow. And so it's been fun. So that's how I spend. That's fun for me. That's how I spend my time. Yeah. I dig into stuff like that. So I've been doing this a long, long time. I am not an expert in voiceover, but I do like to think I'm an expert in technology and business. So.
Awesome. That's just awesome, man. That's something else to know that you've had something used that way. That's pretty neat. That's almost as excited as I was that time I had a commercial on right after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's a big deal, right?
It's the same feeling, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Jonathan, thanks for joining us. And I'm sure we'll be doing updates. You talked about, we got summer updates coming you're talking about, and we'll get you back on to talk about how things are progressing. But everybody, once again, it's VOinbox.com. You can also look at VO Leads. I guess it's VOLeads.com as well. Right. So you can look at both of those, see what works for you. I'm sure one of them will. But just, there's a difference. One's self-service, one's full service. One will save you some hacking and digging, and the other will save you a lot of time and money, even though you got to spend a little. That's the way it works. You got to spend money to make money. It's the way it works. Jonathan, thanks for jumping in with us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, Troy.
You've been listening to The VO Life with Troy Holden, sponsored by VOinbox.com. Be sure and join us every week for more talk about the voiceover business, from industry news and views to the latest in tech. Also, be sure and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. We are heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and over 20 other feeds. Want to be a guest on the VO Life? Send an email to Troy at troyholden-vo.com. Thanks again for listening.